So welcome to this hints and tips video. My name is Joe Moretti and I'm just going to take you through some things that I've been working with recently that have been really useful. So the first thing to note is that I'm using iOS 11 and that I am able to move my apps down onto this dock. This is really useful for what I'm going to be showing you with split screen in a minute, and I'm going to use two applications in this video. I'm going to use Pages and I'm going to use Ferrite, courtesy of a colleague of mine called Mike Watkinson. This really excellent workflow that he showed me recently, and I'm going to share it with you. So thanks, Mike, for that. First thing, I've got my two apps are on my dock, and I'm going to open up Pages here just to show you. I've just got some text and I've got a graphic here. And with this graphic, you'll notice I want to get rid of this black region around it. I'm going to tap on the paintbrush, and if you look at the top here, I'm going to select Image and Instant Alpha. Once I've done that, I can just carefully drag on this black area and try not to take away the black within Concord itself. I want to just sort of carefully do this so that I'm only deleting or making transparent the black around the aircraft, and this allows me now to move this graphic in and around my text really easily, and I think it just looks really nice to be able to do this with your images before sharing them with your students. So that's the first thing. The next thing I want to do is facilitate adding audio. I'm just kind of adding some line returns here before I then look at bringing in my audio. So to do this, I'm going to swipe from the bottom of the screen to bring my dock up again, and I'm going to tap and hold and drag on Ferrite. Now Ferrite is free. There is a paid version, but I'm using the free version and it works perfectly well for this, and I'm just extending from the top here to the top of the screen to get my iPad to go into split screen mode. So wonderful thing about split screen is that you can obviously have two applications going, great, but you could, for example, have Pages on the left and Safari on the right and be dragging in an image that you wanted to use, or you could have Safari on the left and making notes on the right hand side. So split screen I think is absolutely fantastic. Next thing is that I'm going to tap and make a recording. Concord was born out of separate French and British projects which joined forces in 1962. This is all ad hoc, by the way. I'm just demonstrating that having created this recording, new recording 4, I can tap and hold on that recording and drag it in here. And I've now added audio to a Pages document. And I think that's really important because, as we all know, there are so many students either with English as a second language or are far more articulate, just speaking in and describing their knowledge of the subject that you're doing, and being able to add audio to a text and image document is really powerful. Do realize, of course, that you can also add video to Pages. So at this point, the last tip I wanted to show you very quickly is this kind of exporting options of Pages. So this document could be sent to PDF, in which case I lose my audio. If I had any video, that wouldn't work either. But a lot of teachers are using PDFs. Remember, digital PDF distribution saves you money, saves trips to the photocopier. A Word document would give me compatibility with 365, obviously, but again, those multimedia assets aren't going to work. And for this, I'm just going to focus on EPUB. And a couple of things you really need to note. I'm going to deselect the book cover. I don't want the first page as a cover. I haven't set up a cover image. And when it comes to the advanced settings, I have switched off iBooks store compatibility. Be aware, if you leave this on, your audio and your video won't work. So we need to deselect that. I'm now going to send this to my students using iTunes U. Actually, iTunes U and Shobi are my kind of distribution methods of choice. Obviously, a lot of schools are using Classroom, and there's going to be an awful lot of schools looking at Apple's new app for the classroom following the announcements yesterday. So at the end of all of that, we want the students to open this Pages document. Something I didn't mention at the beginning, and I think it's really important to note, is that actually this document started off as a Word document. imported into Pages. So your Word documents can do exactly what I'm showing you now. You can add audio to them, you can add video to them, and you can export them as EPUBs for your students to then consume them or experience them as multimedia documents. You know, I haven't lined this stuff up very carefully. It's literally just showing you that I've got audio in a book, and you can have audio and video. So what else does the book give you over other media documents or ways of distributing information to your students? Well, first of all, you know, with a Word document, you could photocopy that and off it goes. But I've got a searchable document. So if I look for, let's look for the term supersonic as we were looking at Concord. Now, all of my references to supersonic, I can search for them. And it brings me straight to that point within the document. If I don't understand a word, let's have a look at this word friction here, bottom left. I can look that up. So immediately my document not only has media in it, but it's interactive, it's searchable, and it's referenceable. If I want to bookmark a page, I can do that. Great. And the other thing that students typically do is they may take a section and highlight it on a photocopy. Well, I just tapped and held and dragged down over this section of text, and I can change the color of that highlighting. I can add a note, really important. Let's just call this note 1 imaginatively enough. And let's just go on to the first page. Actually, I've only got 2 pages here. Let's just select this one here and demonstrate that not only is it a different color and it can have a different note. We'll call that note 2. But notice this bit here. As I often say in my workshops, the share icon, the get it out of there, put it into somewhere else icon, as I like to call it, if you tap on that, I can share that text to my notes. And look what happens. Not only does it extract the text, but it references the document it came from. It references that EPUB. And so if you want to share a Word document and embed media in it and share it to your students and ask them to read for understanding, of course, if they were to, there are so many options with this, but in this case, they can actually take out the piece of text and send it back to you that they've actually read from your EPUB and then sent it back showing you that they think this is the most important section. So what else do we have? Let's have a look at the index to finish with. Any bookmark pages will turn up here, and of course the notes. This is the wonderful thing. All the notes that they've highlighted in different colors, they're pulled together in one section. They tap on a note and it takes them to that note. So going from Word to interactive multimedia EPUB, to me that's a total no-brainer in terms of getting yourself, or probably more importantly, get your students to take their documents and start creating fantastic EPUBs from them. I hope you find that useful.